Hey, everybody, it's Sonja Jones of GIP Financials. Welcome again to the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. And on today's episode, I am so excited because you guys are actually going to get a chance to meet one of our, not only our client day ones, but she's one of our charter members for GIP Academy. That is Miss Torri Jones, the founder of the Learning Group, which is a STEM science consulting group founded in Mississippi, but she's currently in Texas. So you're going to get a chance to hear from Torri, one, how she heard of GIP, how she's been rolling with us, and what made her decide to enroll in GIP Academy. So I hope that this episode blesses you and hopefully gets you, encouraged to go ahead and take that step to invest in GIP Academy, not only for your sake, but for your business sake as well. So let's get started. Welcome everyone to From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. I'm your host, Sonja Jones of GIP Financial, your Mr. Beyond Your Money. And thank you. And who I have on the podcast today is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Miss Torri Jones. If y'all want to know who we do, why GIP Financials exists, is for individuals and entrepreneurs like Torri. She's definitely a go-getter. And we met Torri, who was there, I want to say around 2022, like the pandemic was still going on. Fraser CDC was hosting what we call it was part of a CMPP program. It was a COVID funding program from the SBA, and so they received funding along with other nonprofits in Memphis to provide technical assistance for entrepreneurs to get through the pandemic. And so they hired us to talk about QuickBooks, and so that's where we met Torri for the first time. And then Torri's just been hanging out with us ever since. And then once we started, right? And once we started GIP Academy, Tori was in the beta program, and she was one of our what I call our charter members to join us. And when I tell you guys, like you'll hear it in today's interview, like Tori's a go getter, and when you're thinking about having that, expertise by your side to help you know your numbers, like we've literally seen Tori's business grow. We've literally seen it to the point where now Torri has a team and she's working less but still making profit. Right. So it's definitely, I said, you got to come on the podcast and let other entrepreneurs see and hear, the benefits of being in GIP Academy. We talk about it all the time. You've seen the commercials. But I was like, you know what? Nobody's seen the actual members that have been in the community. So that's why I wanted to start off with Torri. So welcome, Torri.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And so I'm going to do the honor and the privilege of reading Tori's bio. And so Torri is the founder and the CEO of the Learning Group, right? Which is founded in Mississippi, right? STEM, tutoring company, all that good stuff. But I won't read the bio because I know about the business, but I want to read what Torri got on the bio. So let's talk a little bit about this superstar we have here. So with the love for teaching and helping others, Torri Jones decided to open her own consulting firm in 2022. She is a hands-on owner of her small business, the Learning Group, who oversees multiple contracts for business consulting, educational consulting, and tutoring service. With over 8 years of experience, Torri is knowledgeable, she sure is, and skillful in providing the services needed to be successful. Torri earned a bachelor's degree in biology, chemistry, and science education from the Mississippi Valley State University and a master's in forensics from Alabama State University. She has worked for various school districts, directed STEM and educational programs, provided assistance and help in starting local businesses, and pursued a career in forensic science. And when she's not busy educating, learning, and attending to clients, she is an active volunteer with her local communities, a devoted mother and wife. See, I told you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am.
told you. All right. So, Tori, tell us a little bit about the learning group and how you got started there. I know you had other endeavors as well, but just kind of tell us how you got started in this entrepreneurial space.
So, the learning group came about as an option to help. In 2022, I had my second child, who, during that pregnancy, I became ill, and so did he. So after he was born, my life kind of had to alter a little bit, and it altered in a good way. One of those things that, like, people tell you either you can step out or God gonna push you out. It's your
Hmm.
choice, either willingly or he gonna do it on his own. So my son got sick. I went back to my school district to ask them could I step down as a lead teacher and just become like a TA, just to be there because we had some, the dynamic of going back into school after COVID completely changed for the kids and for us as adults.
That's right.
So the kids still needed that quality time with me specifically in the science area, and he was like, no. Straight up in front of everybody in the administrative meeting, he was like, no, if you can't come back full capacity, no. And I was like, okay. Like shocked, but okay. And then word got out that I wasn't teaching in this district anymore. So, people were calling. I was like, hey, I got a sick kid. I can't, work full time. So I had somebody to call me and was like, hey, can you get on with a consulting company? Like, I got a contract, it'll fit what you got going on, but we really need you here to work the numbers, and we need mentoring for the teachers, because that was one of my things before I got me and my son got sick, was that I was spending more time mentoring teachers and working with grant money than I was in my classroom, because
Mhm.
one, we were short staffed, and two, nobody cared enough. Like, I don't think it registered in the education world that now we're bringing in more individuals that don't fully have the heart for education. They're just there because they really need a job.
Mhm.
So having those type of individuals, you really have to spend time with them and nurture them and make, not make them, but kind of groom them to understand, like, hey, this is a different type of field. You can't just come in here and be like, I'm gonna clock in and
Right.
clock out. Like,
That's
it's
right.
different. I couldn't find anybody to bring me on as a subcontractor, so my mom helped me reach out to Dr. Shamika Gibson from Memphis. She works with it does, help with entrepreneurs in Memphis. And they were like, well, we got a business mentorship program, and we can kind of help you get, like, you can do this by yourself. And it went from there. I started working, started producing numbers. That person told another person, like, hey, Miss Jones not in the district no more. She over here doing this, and it's working. And it went from there. And once I started realizing it was growing, that's when I met you all, because I was like, wait a minute. you know, I
Mhm.
was just trying to, feel my way through, still have that flexibility because my baby goes to a lot of therapy appointments and stuff. Not just fully realizing on the business and financial side of, like, no, you got a business. Like, you have a
Mhm.
business versus like, oh, I'm just going to work. I'm just doing what I normally do. So that's how the learning group became what it is today.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And shout out to Shamika Gibson. 'Cause I know her too as well as a great partner, great program that she's a part of as well. So if you're listening, especially if you're in the Memphis area, though I told you guys we got plenty of resources.
Yes.
There's no excuse.
Dress for success. I was
Yeah,
trying to think of the
dress
name
for
earlier. Dress for
success. That's
success.
exactly right. So if you are in the city of Memphis area, right, like I said, don't sleep on the programs that we have here. We have a whole lot of them that you can take advantage of, and especially since Tori is now in Texas, but at the time she was in Mississippi, and a lot of programs that we do, especially if you're in Mississippi or Arkansas, we call it the tri-state area, you're more than welcome to join us as well. Right. So, like I said, y'all, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, it's just filling in the gaps, right? Especially if you are as, skilled as awesome as Tori is, right? As soon as you, step out from an area, they already sending what we call the hey big heads, like, hey, I see you ain't working, come over here, holler at me.
Right.
And then how cool
Right.
was that to where somebody already had an opportunity and they were just looking for people to come and fulfill, the grant
Right.
obligations or the contract obligation, right? That's the spot where you need to be, and that's where your skills and your talents will speak for you, right? So I
Yes,
love,
ma'am.
love, love that. So let's talk a little bit about. So we talked about your journey into entrepreneurship and your need for mentorship, and then you were like, hey, I need to make sure I run my business like a real business. So before you met GIP Financials, like how were you managing your finances for the learning group?
I was in the limbo of just tracking in the Excel sheet, but I didn't have a full understanding of how to track. Like I was putting in um, who was paying me and how much. And then I would try to keep track of my spending. Like my bills went in, but then I noticed like even after you pay your bills, whatever you have left needs to be tracked as well. So just learning how to properly do that, but then taking another step up because when you get to having to file your taxes, that's a whole different level. So I figured like I need something in my own little spreadsheet to make sure that I'm on the right page.
Absolutely. And so you were handling your bookkeeping by yourself, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just want to, keep reemphasizing, especially like for entrepreneurs that are listening, yeah, you got to start somewhere, right? And even if you don't, have QuickBooks, especially like I would advise, especially if you're a startup, you probably don't need, the level of QuickBooks that you may hear like on social media and stuff like that.
Right.
Cool thing about QuickBooks, yes, it has, subscriptions where it can like grow with you, but sometimes you might not even need that, depending on what type of cash flow you got coming in, because QuickBooks you have to pay for it monthly, right? So get a spreadsheet, get pencil and paper to make sure that you writing it down and notating it in some capacity, right? Because we all got to start somewhere. So as you were tracking your finances, Tori, was there ever a time to where you discover like your, for lack of a better term, you not tracking them like probably you should, led to
Yes,
like
ma'am.
a lesson that you had to learn?
Yes, ma'am. Not tracking like you should, and not tracking like you should, meaning whenever you're getting paid for your services, it needs to go in some type of bracket. And whenever you're spending from that money that you receive from that services, it needs to go be logged because for me, a lesson was not tracking like I should led me to be short on something else. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
if I got paid for these services and then I had to go restock on some type of materials or supplies. Well, me, my biggest restock was like school supplies because I
Mm-hmm.
worked in rural areas. So when I went to my schools, I had everything we need, pencil, paper, whatever activity we're doing. But then I realized that maybe I had to take care of a certain bill with the business or things like that and be short on the back end. So just making sure that you're logging it at each time or when you're logging, wait to spend, meaning like log all your stuff, make sure you have all your necessities taken care of, and then if you need to go get something that maybe you normally didn't get or it's time to restock, then restock after you handle the primary stuff. So that was a lesson for me, like, hey, you got to be disciplined with looking at your numbers and making sure you know how much you got and whatever you take care of, how much is left after you take care of that business, and then that's what you can use to do whatever else you need to do.
Right. I love that lesson. So yeah, it just, of course, I like to just summarize everything. So like Tori brought up a very good point. Now, one of the things that I love that Tori did, when we met her, she already had like her business, checking account already set up. It was already there. Right. And so just speaking about what she said from that standpoint is that when you receive, money for services, right? Congratulations that you earned that money. We already see that's proof of concept for your business and things like that. But just like Tori said, you got to make sure that once you receive those funds, you can't just spend them, right? part that needs to be
Right.
reserved for not only your future jobs but also for your current jobs, because there's time, especially as growing your business, you're going to undercharge, right? And not take into consideration there are going to be some what we call some surprises, right? And then in that case, you may have to come out of pocket, like Tori said, to buy some supplies, or even as you're planning something, and you have to figure out, like, say for example, maybe she was planning for a workshop of 20, and it end up being 30 kids, right? And you got,
Right.
that part wasn't in the contract, but I still got to fulfill, what's going on, right? So
Right.
you have to have money in order to do that. But I also want to talk about it from those of you who don't have the business checking account just yet, right? So you got to make sure that, especially, hopefully, as you're listening to this, you're thinking like, dang, I need to go ahead and get my business checking account, because it's easier to track it once you have things that are separated. Because if you're
It
getting
is.
paid, through Cash App, or you getting paid, through those, instant merchant accounts, it's one thing like, "Ooh, I got some money," and you don't think about it anymore. But then once it's like Tori said, tax time and things like that, and you hire somebody like GIP, and we look at your numbers, you're like, wait a minute, I know I made more money than that, but we can't trace it because you spent it as soon as you got
Spent.
it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
probably in your personal checking account, right? So those things matter. They matter. So being
Yes, they do.
organized is everything. You got to do it. And just like Tori said, it's a level of discipline that you have to have, right? You're not gonna like it at first, but I promise you, it's gonna benefit you in the long run. It's
It
definitely gonna
is.
benefit you, right?
It
But you
is.
want to say something else, Tori?
I was gonna say no. That's even in my personal life. Like when me and my husband first got married and we was doing finances, he was like, "You have like three bank accounts." Why? I was like, "One for spending, one for bills, and one for savings." He was like, "Why?" I was like, "Cause if it's in my spending account, I'm gonna spend it. So I need to separate it so I can. That's so my brain can know. Don't touch that. You gotta pay your bills.
Mhm.
So and it's the same way with your business as well. So
Right. Absolutely. So we're gonna pause with the calls right here. So we've been talking about, Tori's financial journey, but after our break, we're gonna get into her journey with GIP Academy. So y'all check out this commercial right quick, and then we're gonna come back and talk to Tori. She's gonna give you the real about GIP Academy. So check this out.
Are you stressed about taxes? Can't afford a bookkeeper? You're not alone. Many entrepreneurs owe the IRS or haven't filed past taxes because no one taught them how to manage their books. That is why we created GIP Academy, the financial coaching program designed for entrepreneurs who need help but aren't ready to pay for a bookkeeper. For $3 a day, we can help you fix past bookkeeping mistakes, organize your numbers for tax season, and increase profit with simple strategy. Join GIP Academy today and get the financial confidence you deserve.
All right, y'all, we are back. So I hope that you learned a lot about a GIP Academy and how we help entrepreneurs that are doing their own bookkeeping. Like I said, it's for $97 a month. You can't beat it. We are still in the process of making it better. And shout out to, Tori and our other members that they've given us feedback, because we're still in the growing process of building out GIP Academy. We started GIP Academy because we've had, like, Tori's been in our Know Your Numbers boot camp, the tax prep boot camp. We changed the name of it a couple times, just depending on when we were having it throughout the year. Well, I tell you, like, Tori been with us for the $10 classes, and they were like, Tori been riding with us like for real, right? She's seen us in
right till the
all our
wheels
glorious
fall off.
splendor, right? And so what we noticed was that after the workshops that we've had, people were like, this is great. I learned so much. But Sonya, I'm still scared to death. I don't know what we need to do, after that. We feel like we still need you in some capacity, right? Or GIP in some capacity. So that's why we started GIP Academy, just to make sure, especially for those entrepreneurs, one who may not have the cash flow to invest in done for you bookkeeping, and have to do the books on their own, to still have a level of expertise, because during tax time, a lot of times the tax preparers that you guys engage are only available during tax season and they're not available throughout the year. Some of you may feel like you have to have a CPA. And a lot of times, you may not need a CPA for price wise and then for level access, because a lot of times CPAs and enrolled agents um, aren't available in, just to do data entry and, accounting analysis, right? They might have teams to do that, but having access to the actual CPA, they're really only available when, you're in like deep hot water, like with audits and stuff like that, because enrolled agents and CPAs are the only two uh, professionals that can actually represent you in those situations, right? So you got to make sure that you have access to somebody that's not only just going to, walk with you, but also give you the encouragement that you need. Like, y'all, we seen it all when it's come to, our industry, and there are a lot of bad apples out there that have kind of you know, made the industry look a little bad. So we've had to kind of, really say, hey, we are here with you. We want to see you grow. And in order for us to do that, we have created a program that literally speaks to that. So we have our monthly live Q&A sessions in GIP Academy where we're teaching like literally every month about different topics. And then the most valuable part of our program is the quarterly one-to-one. So once a quarter, every 3 months, you get to speak to me, Latasha, and eventually we're gonna fold in the rest of the members of the squad as the community grows to go through your numbers and give you some feedback on how your business is doing and what you need to do. Right, to have you thinking about your goals. Right, not just your business goals, but also your personal goals and stuff as well too, to see how we can incorporate that, how your business can help you meet those personal growth, personal goals, right? And then we also have our self-paced online learning library that we just moved that platform to Squarespace. So we'll actually be showcasing that in the April live Q&A tour. Just let you know. So, but it's really really cute. It's really bomb. But yeah, so that's what GIP Academy is all about. We are here to make sure that you have the level of support that you need. So Torri, I know Torri was a part of actually the beta, so we had like a whole month of the beta testing for GIP Academy, and then we opened it up to the beta participants. So Torri, can you walk everybody kind of through that beta process? And first of all, why did you even decide to be a part of GIP Academy, participating in the beta?
So I decided to be a part of GIP Academy, the beta, because I wanted to see what all did you all have to offer. I'm the type of person where I always like to have something in my back pocket. And with GIP Academy, actually, y'all be in my front pocket. But so with the academy, you have accessibility to a whole bunch of resources. And I'm a resource girly. Like, if I don't know something, I want to be able to go and look it up. And, with Google and YouTube University, it's so much stuff out there that you can get misinformation. And when it comes to finances, I do not want to be misinformed because they put you in a different area when it comes to the government and audits and stuff like that. So I was really interested to see like what what resources was there, how we'll be able to have access to the resources, which you have all the access to everything. You're able to log on, you're able to go back, and if she had pre-recordings or if she had teaching sessions, you can always go back and rewatch the videos to help you. Like if you're working on something, you can be able to go back and be like, okay, I stopped here. This is what I need to do. But then the icing on top for me is the access, because I need to call and ask you now type girly. So being able to have the access to reach out to one of them with this phone, email, via text, whatever, and be like, hey, I'm working on my such and such, and I got ABCD going on, and they'll be like, okay, let me jump on and look at it, or give me 20 minutes, whatever. That's a big thing to me because a lot of us be flying blind when it comes to finances, and I don't want to fly blind. I don't want to be out here messing up stuff and then you guys got to go back and fix it, or sometimes it might not be fixable versus by me being in the academy and having access to that. I see it as an investment for myself and my business because I don't have to, we're gonna make mistakes, but I can avoid making so many mistakes when I have the access to reach out to someone and seek help about whatever I'm handling on the financial or doing on the financial side of it.
Absolutely. And when I tell you how Tori takes advantage of that, like she gonna ask some questions, and that's what we want. Because I would rather you ask those questions to us, right, and let us walk you through that process. As like she said, like because there's a lot of different information floating around social media. Some of it there. Here's what I will say: most of the stuff that I see is probably just miscommunicated just for likes and engagement, right? It's very rare that I see to where people are actually speaking the truth about financials. It's either kind of like it's all the way wrong, it's kind of wrong, but we want to, we want to do the hook so we can get you, but we ain't gonna tell you everything because we want you to, invest in this program, stuff like that, right? And that can be dangerous. It can be very dangerous, right? And so like even like there have been some times where Tori, has either called us, emailed us, or texted us, and like I may be busy, but I'll get on the Zoom and record something, say like, I know I didn't get a chance to, reach back out to you, but here's a Zoom video, to kind of talk about, da 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 in QuickBooks and things like that. So that's like I said, that's the level of support that you get from us, right? Especially in GIP Academy, because like I said, there's no question, that's too small or too big because we are highly resourceful, as Tori said as well. If we don't have it, trust me, we got a squad behind us between Latasha and I and the programs, the mentoring programs and stuff that we're in, full of CPAs and tax specialists. We are going to get the answer that you need for your particular situation, right? And that's the point. Like when you invest, like they say, every pastor needs a pastor, right? Every culture expert needs somebody that's going to provide oversight for them as well. Every mentor needs a mentor. So you are getting like all of our coaches and the fruit of their labor in us, right? And so we don't take that for granted, at all, right? Because like she said, it's an investment. You want to be able to trust the people that you're investing into, right? And um, so are there any other benefits, Tori, to GIP Academy that you feel like other entrepreneurs need to know?
I do think it's a other benefits is that even though the main focus is your finances, they're also resourceful as well. Like because they have a network, they have a way to where like recently, we just talked about grants and loans. So they have a network to be able to help you in some type of capacity that might help you expand your business, or a network to even get you some work with your business. Because if you're talking about your finances and say, hey, I got a business in XYZ, or I'm trying to do XYZ, they be like, oh, well, we got Tori, she do this, so it's also a networking opportunity, which is good because in the world we live in, part of it is about who you know, to give you an opportunity. I also think that um, it's also beneficial because you have people that you're relatable to. Like me, I'm a woman, so I have a woman that I can talk to, or relatable, with age and race and things that later. Like they have a diverse team, so you have relatable people that you can talk to. They can understand, get on your level. That's what I like. You can get on my level. You're not talking big words to me. Like, look, it's just as simple as ABC. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I like that as well, that, the teaching in you can bring it down to where we can understand.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate that. And yeah, like, hey, if y'all get on GIP Academy doing them monthly calls and you got the kids in the background, that is totally fine. Cause I'll have Stantasia baby Jamari over here with me if need be.
Right.
things
That's
like that.
right.
'Cause like I said, we parents, we understand. Like when my kids were that young, I was working 3 jobs. Like, dude, I was teaching full time. I was a church musician, and I had two businesses at that time, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it's just it is what it is. If you got to multitask and fix something to eat while you still learning, like all my stuff is recorded. Like it is what it is. We totally understand. And just like Tori said as well, I know she and I, we share, careers in education. And so I totally understand everything that Tori said at the beginning about the teaching, how the teaching space has definitely shifted to where, from passion to like, child, I'm just here to get a check, and it directly impacts the kids. It impacts your staff, right? Because you got veterans there that have been there for the long run, and then you
Right.
got folks that are just coming in, just to fill seats and stuff like that. Just be able to see all that, it definitely can take a toll. And as a teacher and as an administrator, right, I can see it, from the top down. And like, how can we put things in place to preserve and retain teachers like Tori, things like that? You have to have, a sense of entrepreneurial. You have to have some entrepreneurial skill and be innovative and creative, right? And truth be told, that's how we started. I started GIP Academy while I was an admin, at local charter school here, because there were so many entrepreneurs that wanted to do business with schools, but they didn't have the financial acumen in order to do it. A lot of times they saw me as the bad cop. They saw me as, being a hater and not want to see, black folks win and all that. It's like, no, sir, no, ma'am. It's the fact that I need to keep the charter school open.
Right.
And the
But we
Tennessee
gotta do
State
this right.
Comptroller, right? We ain't going to jail for you because you
Right.
want to get
That's right.
paid via Cash App or PayPal, friends and family. I'm not gonna fight you over this W-9. None of that. You said you want to be a business person. This is what it's gonna have to take,
Right.
right?
That's
And
right.
so
Yep.
that's how we started GIP Financial. So yeah, this has been a great conversation. But I got a couple other questions for you, Tori. So
Okay.
as Tori, not Tori the mom, not Tori the entrepreneur, just Tori. So how is Tori investing in Tori? How are you taking care of yourself?
Okay. The biggest thing that I have, I'm gonna say accomplished, because now it's a part of my regular routine, is that to take care of myself in the because first thing in the morning I get up before everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I be ready to go to sleep by 8 o'clock, but it's worth it. I get up before everybody. I pray, and then I get myself completely dressed, ready first. Make sure I got all my stuff together. I'm dressed. Start breakfast. Just take care of me first, because I've noticed if I don't do that, I'm like rushing. It's throwing my day off. Frustrated. But getting up, taking care of myself first, and then start the day as mom or entrepreneur or whatever. So really, just investing that time to take a moment. First thing I do when I open my eyes is say a prayer, and then just get myself ready for the day and go from there. That's been my biggest thing that I've noticed that makes a big difference for taking care of me. It's just like starting the day off with me, because you're going to end the day with you. You go to bed. So yeah.
Right. I love that. I love that. You say, girl, you go to bed at 8 o'clock and teach me.
I'd be ready to go to bed at 8 o'clock, but I've always been like I'm a sleeper.
For real?
I'm a sleeper. I like to nap. So yes, yes,
Wow.
yes, yes.
It's like 8 o'clock. Yeah,
8 o'clock, I be like this. Nah,
that's hilarious. I was
me
like,
and my son. My son like that too. Like
for
8 o'clock,
real?
yes, and it's soccer season, and we are struggling.
Oh man. I love that. But I was like, do you know what I could do if I went to sleep at 8 o'clock? I would wake up like a superhero, man. I'd be like, da 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 da.
Now, my husband like that. He was like, "You just, I can fall asleep anywhere. It don't matter. Like when I'm ready to go to bed. If I'm ready to go to sleep, I'm out. It's give me an hour. I'm gonna wake up like nothing ever happened. Just, just let me get my sleep. Just let me
Wow,
get my
just
sleep."
recharge, huh? I love
And
it.
I've been like that all my life. My mom said I was like that as a kid. So, but
That's
she's
okay.
like that. She has to nap. She has to take a nap. She has to like. That's just
Mhm.
how we are.
That is amazing. That's amazing. Like I heard that. I love that. So we talked about you investing in yourself as an individual. Are there any other type of investments that you're making within the business outside of GIP Academy?
Well, I call it an investment. I, make sure that I have me a website. I make sure that I keep all the subscriptions up to date because one thing about I've noticed when you're growing your business, people want to be able to look you up and making sure I keep my website up to date, current. Um, Another investment is that when there are things going on in the communities that I want to reach out to, I make sure that I go attend whether it's a pop-up shop, school event, community event, even if I can attend, making sure that my information is added into their flyers or there's a table set up, just pushing out, other than social media, because social media is a main platform for us now. But I'm not a social media girly. I'm trying to get better with it. So just investing in like, oh, if I'm, working in the Memphis area the next couple of months, making sure I get out and people, you know, it's nothing like having a face to a name, knowing who we are and what we do and things of that nature.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. And so
Well,
yeah.
promotion, I guess, investing
Mhm.
in promotion.
Right, absolutely. And y'all check out Tori's gonna let us know how we can get in contact with her. But that Facebook page I was looking at, and she's got videos of her and her team actually working with the kids and doing science labs and things like that. It's those types of that level of content is transformational because especially like if like she said prospectives want to look at what her program looks like, it's the type of content that you're putting out there that's also going to change the game. So actually seeing the kids being engaged and working through the programs, you can see the little materials that they're working with. I saw some with some jello on there. I was like, oh, that intrigued me. I'm like, what you about that jello, right? All that good stuff. So those are the types of things that also spark interest too, as well as because STEM is still a big deal. STEAM now that they call it, and just having other vendors and educational resources to kind of help your current staff, or even if you might not have, because sometimes science is considered core content depending on your state. I know in Tennessee it's still a core subject, core testing subject, but sometimes it can be considered as an elective, right? So either one of those can be like towards your person for that to make sure that you have some very engaging, not only engaging content, but make sure that it's in line with your state standards and stuff as well, because that's important as well, right? Yeah. And so here's our last question, Tori. So I ask this question to everybody who comes on our podcast. So Tori, why is it important for entrepreneurs to know their numbers?
It is important to know your numbers, just like it's important to take a bath every day. Comparing it to that, because if you don't know your numbers, it'll leave you lost and it'll leave you in a stank situation. Just as simple as that. And we don't
Love
we don't want them problems. And I'm gonna speak from two sides.
it. Hmm.
Um, from our culture side, we be afraid. We honestly be afraid. Government taxes. Oh my God, I'm just trying to make my money, and all of us are. But from being on the professional side and knowing like, hey, if I do this right from the beginning, it opens up so many opportunities because you got a track record, of how you're handling business, and it makes it easier for when you get your business established or get that experience under your belt, where you can apply for those loans and grants, and it's not an issue because you got a record, you got paperwork, nothing like a paper trail. And there's just a big thing. Like you have to know your numbers. And I think I not I think I feel you're not a legit business until you have worked all parts. You know, it's a difference from being the boots on the ground, but it's a whole nother level when you the boots on the ground and you got to turn around and be the brains as well. So I think knowing your numbers is a very big deal.
I love it,
It's a very,
especially
very big deal.
love it. And Tori is actually like when we had our last quarter, our last one to one, or the 2024 one to one, we went over your 2024 numbers. We were actually able to see, like when Torri moved from Mississippi to Texas, how much she was able to profit while she had still had her squad in Mississippi, right? So now, like I said, Torri is now she's transitioning into the phase where she's working on her business and not necessarily in her business.
And
And that's where
yes.
you want to be. That's where you want to be. You
Yes.
want to be able to, like she said, Torri is now in the position now to where, because she has staff and she still has contracts in Mississippi, now she's taking her time to try to connect in Texas to obtain contracts in Texas, right? And generate revenue from another source. That's where you should be as a CEO and as a founder, right? To establish systems, make sure things are going with one avenue of revenue, and start, expanding and creating other pockets of revenue in other spaces. So that's the type of transformation that you can have in GIP Academy with having experts at your side. So, Torri, how can people learn more about the learning group?
We have multiple ways you can learn more about us. You can visit our website at Learning Group for the word, for FORU.org. We have our Facebook. Type in the search bar The Learning Group. Instagram, our username is The Learning Group, the number 4U, spell out YOU. And then we're also on TikTok, and the username for there is Learning Group, the number 4UYOU. So those are ways you can go and search and learn more about us, or reach out to us if need be. If you need any tutoring, instructional support, that's for students and teachers, STEM, and we have math coming this upcoming school year. So STEM and math, hit us up if you need us.
I love that. You gonna have bath too? Yay! I love that. That's gonna be a big deal. So y'all, I appreciate you guys hanging out with Tori and I. And if Tori hasn't convinced you that you need GIP Academy, Lord, what are you waiting on?
I
Right?
know,
Don't have the rest of 2025 you out here lost, right? You don't have to be
right?
lost. For $3 a day, you can sacrifice your vending machine money. Just one
Mm-hmm.
snack to get what you need from GIP Academy. And I'll be remiss if I did not tell you that this is a tax deductible expense. Why? Because it's ordinary and necessary for your business, right? So take that time to
Right,
invest in yourself. And like I said, the value, you can't even get a private one-to-one consultation for $97, but you also get all this other stuff on in addition to that. Right.
right,
And so take advantage of that, y'all. We have this specifically here for y'all because we love y'all, and we want to make sure that everybody wins, because every entrepreneur, every nonprofit needs and deserves funding. Let's get you the
right.
funding that you deserve. Okay. So, Tori, thank you again, love, for hanging out with us. And
Thank you all
Tori,
for having me.
also, yes. And then on the next time you're gonna see Tori, we have a cadence, so we do a podcast episode, then we do a live Q&A. So Tori's gonna be with us on the following Thursday. And Tori, I think we probably gonna make that the GIP Academy open house. Let's just go on and
Okay.
do a school thing, you know what I'm saying? Do a
All
whole
right.
GIP
No
Academy
problem.
open house, to where you guys will also be able to see our other, members, as well as the rest of the GIP squad, right? So you can answer, so we can answer all the questions that you have and things like that, right? So without further ado, thank y'all again for coming and participating in the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. I'm Sonja Jones. This is Torri Jones. That's my cousin. And we see you guys on the next go round. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for tuning in to the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. Again, my name is Sonja Jones of GIP Financials, your Mr. Miyagi of Money. And look, if you learned something from this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure that you like, that you subscribe. If you have some little nuggets, add some comments to the comment section of this podcast. But most importantly, I want you to share it with your fellow entrepreneurs. We want to share this good old fundamental business finance education so you can have the tools necessary to know your numbers and grow your business. All right. Take care, y'all. I'll catch you on the next episode.